In today's lesson, we're going to draw 3D block letters. Let's make our letters 2 inches tall. I'll start with a horizontal line on my page, measure up 2 inches, and draw a second horizontal line. These lines will be guidelines to help me make sure that all 3 of my letters, ART, are the same height. I'm also going to draw some vertical lines between the 2 horizontal lines just to figure out how wide I want each letter to be. You can use a ruler and measure, or you can just eyeball it. My letters are going to be 1.5 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches wide. The proportions of your letters are up to you. Now I like to make my block letters with pretty straight lines that are consistent. The thickness of each leg of the A I want to be as thick as or as wide as the flat spot on the top of the A. If you're following along with these same letters, your A could be pointed on top instead of flat. I think they look good flat. Alright, I'll start my R now. As long as my R is pretty close to between these guidelines that we put in, it'll look like it's part of the same set of letters, the same font as the A. Drawing letters is nothing like writing letters. We're making these out of rectangles and half circles, triangles. The T is the easiest. Maybe I should have started with the T. It's just 2 rectangles, 1 vertical, 1 horizontal, and then we'll erase the parts we don't need. And it'll be time to add dimension or depth. Now we're going to use a dot called a vanishing point. And we're going to draw lines to all of the corners of our 3 letters from that dot, from that vanishing point. The vanishing point will control the direction of the horizontal edges of our letters that are moving away from us in space, and it'll control the rate at which those sides get smaller. The top corner of my A would force me to draw on top of my R, so I'm going to pick up my pencil and just skip over that. I don't want to have to draw on top of any of my original letters. Now, to close off or finish off the bottom edge of my A, I'll just copy the lines that were the front edge of my A's bottom. That is horizontal and diagonal lines. I want to make sure that the bottom back of the leg on the right of our A is the same as the bottom back of the leg on the left as far as the depth goes. Those 2 lines should be in line with one another. Now some of these sides can get really narrow, really tiny. Take a look at the right side of the A. It's just a sliver of an open space between the front edge and the back edge of that side. Alright, let's move on to the R. Again, we'll draw a line to every corner that we can draw a line to, whether the corner pokes out or pokes in, like the corner between our R's 2 legs. And there's also a curve. I just want to put my ruler on the very edge of the curve that would allow me to draw to it without drawing through it, and that's going to be the right spot for the curve. Follow along the bottom edge of the R with a second set of lines that echo the direction of the bottom edge of the original R. Horizontal, and now I'm squeezing in a very tight vertical line, followed by a diagonal line that mimics the diagonal of the front of my R, and another horizontal, and that'll take care of the bottom of my R. I only need to take care of the curve. Between the guideline that came from our dot or vanishing point and the front edge of the R's curve, I just want to try to copy that curve but have it smoothly taper into the straighter line that we used our ruler to create. After having done the A and the R, the T should be pretty simple. It doesn't have any diagonal sides or curves, so it's more like just creating boxes, 2 boxes in space that are 3D. And the beauty of using the vanishing point, instead of just guessing or free drawing the sides of these letters, is that each letter is seen from a slightly different point in space. We can see the left side of our T, and we can see the right side of our A. And that looks great. Make sure when you chop off the back of your T's horizontal that it is in line with the other side of the T's horizontal. It's one long edge. We just can't see the whole thing. Don't worry, I'm not erasing because I've made a mistake. I'm just lightening my pencil drawing so that I can ink it. I draw pretty dark in these instructional videos to make sure that you can see them, but when I want to add ink or change medium, if these were going to be colored pencil, for example, I would also have lightened my original drawing with the flat side of an eraser just so none of the extra graphite mixes into my second medium. I'm just going to use hatching to add a little bit of value to our letters. I'm going to use the bottom edges of the sides that I shade on to determine at what angle I'll draw these lines. So these lines are horizontal, same as the T, same as the bottom of the R, because the bottom of these sides that face the ground are horizontal as well. But some of the sides of our letters, well, their bottom edges are vertical or diagonal, so I'll use vertical or diagonal lines spaced out a little bit more than the bottom edges, bottom sides. I'll use vertical or diagonal lines to shade those sides. And it'll also help to communicate at what direction these sides are traveling away from us in space. Thanks for watching 3D Block Letters, and thanks for visiting TotalDrawing.com.